Ever had that gut-wrenching feeling where the heart of a team seems to be beating stronger without the very lifeline you thought they couldn't live without? What if I told you? No, what if you felt that maybe, just maybe, the Lions aren't as desperate to bring back Zadarius Smith as you thought? It's wild, right? Because for years, fans like us have circled around that name like it's the last hope to push this defense over the edge, the final piece to a puzzle too long missing. But insiders, quietly observing the evolution behind the scenes, are whispering something that sounds almost sacrilegious to Detroit's faithful. The Lions may actually be good to go without Smith. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't some cold shoulder or outright rejection. No, the love for Smith runs deep, and the man himself has made it loud and clear he wants back in Detroit, the city he's felt at home in. But here's where it gets spicy: the team chemistry, the hunger, the raw energy shaping up this camp. It's rewriting the need for that familiar face. Executives are holding their breath as Aiden Hutchinson steps onto the field. Not just healthy, but sharper, faster, more vicious than ever after that brutal leg injury. You remember the injury? The doubts? And yet here he is looking like he's carrying the whole defense on his back, elevating everyone around him. DJ Reader, who last year was solid but silent, is roaring back to life, pounding the line with newfound vigor. Tyleik Williams is seizing every moment, biting at the heels of opportunity like a warrior hungry for his turn. Then there's Marcus Davenport. Yes, the injury concerns are real, etched into every fan's heart like a scar, but right now he's a menace on the edge, a looming nightmare for every quarterback daring to throw into his territory. And if that weren't enough, the pride of Detroit's draft, 6th-round rookie Ahmed Hassanein, is looking like a diamond in the making. Someone the Lions are almost hesitant to shift, because every snap he takes feels like a step toward the future of this defense. Can you imagine pulling reps away from a kid who's hungry, rising, snapping at the heels of greatness, just to recycle a veteran who might slow that momentum? It feels backwards, almost unthinkable in the cutthroat world of the NFL. And the layers keep piling on young guns, Nate Lynn and Keith Cooper flashing flashes of brilliance. The seasoned grit of Al Quaid and Muhammad, and the looming returns of Josh Paschal and Mekhi Wingo, ready to plug in and explode off the edge come September. This isn't just a room growing crowded. It's a crucible forging something new, fiercely Detroit, raw and bruising and hungry for respect. So, where does Smith fit in this mosaic? That's the million-dollar question. The emotional pull to bring back a proven edge rusher who can light up scoreboards and disrupt quarterbacks is undeniable. But what Detroit demands above all is progress slow. Painful, tangible progress towards something lasting. To bring back Zadarius now risks setting that development back, stalling the rise of the next wave of defenders who bled sweat this camp to earn their shots. Could it be that the Lions, after years of clawing and scraping, finally feel the sting of patience paying off? Or is this a strategic gamble, a quiet confidence that if injury strikes, Smith is still out there, a safety net ready to snap? The real kicker? No official announcements, no public ultimatums. Just a silence filled with shifting politics, a locker room humming with new energy, and a fan base left to wonder if this is a sign Detroit finally isn't settling for scraps. We've stared down heartbreak for decades, from the endless losing seasons, the Caldwell years' crushing disappointments, to the ghosts of legends dead on arrival. This city, this team knows all too well what it means to rebuild, to claw. Back from the edge of despair, hoping for a glimpse of glory just over the horizon. But here's the thorn in our side. What if it's too late to turn back now? What if this new blood, this swarm of hungry young lions, is the final sharp edge that cuts through years of silence? What if Smith's absence isn't a void but a challenge, a deadly question thrown at the face of destiny? Can these kids carry this city's hopes? And if they do, what kind of roaring will echo through Detroit when these stories unfold? Because if the Lions are ready to move on without Zadarius, to build their fortress on grit and raw effort instead of polished recall, then brace yourself. This isn't just about a player. This is about a city's soul, about a franchise, rewriting its own narrative against the noise of skepticism and history. And if this domino falls, you won't believe who's next. So if your heart's pounding for Detroit, make some noise down below, because the fuse is lit, and all that's left is to wait for the explosion, break the chains Detroit destiny. Doesn't wait for the timid. And if you think this team's story is written in stone, then you've clearly never been through the desert of despair like we have, where losing wasn't just a game, but a plague that nearly swallowed us whole, where the ghosts of 0 to 16 still haunt Ford Field, and every season's hope was shattered by a collapse so brutal it left scars on every fan's soul. Yet here we are on the edge of something explosive. And I'm telling you, the whispers in Allen Park aren't about some seasoned veteran coming back to save a sinking ship anymore. No, it's about a seismic shift, a rebirth where fresh blood and raw grit are rewriting every damn chapter of Detroit's past failures. You remember Dan Orlovsky limping into the end zone, flailing as if to defy gravity, just to breathe life into a dying franchise. Or Calvin Johnson walking away from his jersey in quiet protest, desperate to escape the torment of unfulfilled promise. Yet now, after those dark, bitter years, after we've endured Jim Caldwell's firing, wild-card heartbreaks that left us craving closure, now there's this brewing storm. This collision of youth and experience crashing like a Detroit steel mill in full tilt. Aiden Hutchinson emerging from his injury like a warrior reborn, more ferocious and relentless, challenging every doubt with his eyes blazing because he refuses to be the next legend lost to tragedy or despair. DJ Reader with silent strength, pounding the interior like a man possessed, showing this defense is not just about flash but about relentless heart. And Tyleik Williams hungry enough to tear the ties from his own hands just to carve out his place, each one a battle-scarred soldier in a war they refuse to lose. And then the lurking giant Marcus Davenport looming on the edge, a perfect storm of injury, recovery, and raw power, ready to remind everyone why the NFL fears the Detroit pass rush, while Ahmed Hassanin's rise from a late-round surprise to a potential star screams war cry. He's not just filling a spot. He's rewriting what's possible for Detroit's future. And that's the gut punch. Do we still desperately need Zadarius Smith? Or is this new wave enough to shake the league's foundations? The front office whispers about patience, about risking losing that edge in pursuit of raw growth. But what if this isn't just about filling a roster spot? What if this is a declaration? A statement to the NFC North rivals who think Detroit is still crawling in the mud. They're watching us, and I guarantee their cobwebs are shaking as young players take repetitive, brutal hits, earning scars and respect, proving this franchise is no longer the laughing stock, that it's a beast awakening from a long slumber. A beast that's learned how to fight back after decades of heartbreak. Because when Calvin Johnson retired, when Sanders left us empty-handed, it felt like the culmination of years of hope crushed under the weight of organizational failure, and the fans tried to hold on to fragments of glory. But now, after last season's playoff push with Jared Goff leading a rejuvenated offense, this city is finally starting to believe again. Yet in the shadows, the whispers grow louder. Do we risk everything on a veteran's name? Or do we trust the raw, brutal energy of these young lions? The stakes couldn't be higher, because if Detroit turns this corner and dares to evolve without Smith, what does it say about us? That we're finally ready to rebuild from the inside out, carving out a new identity rooted in grit, resilience, and ferocious youth? Or is this just another chapter in our tragic love affair with heartbreak, a tease that leaves us hanging on the precipice of a new era that could either define or destroy us? The NFL is unforgiving, and rivals like Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago are licking their chops, sensing an opening while we stand here, heart-pounding, breath ragged, because if this team is truly evolving, then the moment of truth is coming. One last gamble on youth, or a desperate plea for the veteran to save us also. Tell me, are we still searching for that shining star? Or is Detroit finally brave enough to let the storm rage, to let these young warriors carve their story into history, leaving the ghosts of past failures in the dust? Because I swear, if this season isn't the one where Detroit finally stamps its name on the league's map, then what the hell are we fighting for anymore? And when the dust settles, what new nightmare or victory will stand tall in the city that refuses to die?